Michele, what are a couple final points that you may have that you'd want to share just from experience or from things that you've learned that you say, these are 1 or 2 or 3 points that you may really want to incorporate into your thinking?
Oh, man, that's a loaded question.
Yep.
I don't know. I am one that I believe, love, laugh, you know, be present. I mean, all those things, and I think that the vulnerability of what cancer does. I mean, it makes you vulnerable, and it rocks people sometimes to the core, and it's different along the journey. And I think people that have been along the journey, somebody at diagnosis has different needs than somebody that's finished and somebody that's a long time survivor. You have similar needs, but they're different, kind of moving along the journey, and allowing yourself to say, you know, I'm moving along this journey, and there's going to be days that I'm going to have a cancer sucks day. Good. Okay. Hello. I mean, are you human? But if you get stuck in it all the time, then we need to look at how do we help. So I tell you, you are entitled to Cancer Sucks Day. Cancer Sucks moment can happen like you have the moment, then you're good, and then you haven't, you know, it's like a roller coaster ride. But if we get stuck in it, then we need to have the resources to help. And I think that's the biggest thing. And it's being an advocate for yourself, that if you're not happy at, and I'm going to use names here, if you're not happy at Walmart, you're going to go shop at Target, okay? So you find the parts that you need. And sometimes it takes a little bit of digging in a little bit to say, I don't know where I'm at. Is it because I don't feel well right now? I'm tired, I'm fatigued, I got chemo brain, I got neuropathy. Is that what's dragging me down, or is it that plus something else? And trying to tease through some of that stuff. You'll find some core people along your journey that fill you back up. Those are the ones to hang on to. Hang on to them. And then you'll find the people that empty you out. You know, it's time to clean the closet. And I tell patients that a lot. I'm like, it's time to kind of look at where are you at and what do you need, what's the essence of what you need. And it's tough stuff. And I think that's a lot of what we do. When I walk through this, I mean, my grandma had cancer, and I'll tell you, being a health professional on the other side of the fence, talk about difficult, because I'm not in control. You know, when I'm working with you as a health professional, as your nurse, I'm helping you because I got control. But being on the other side as a caregiver, talk about reality check, because I'm not in control, you know, and it was a good journey to kind of learn. And I think that's allowing yourself to have the times that you're sad and the times that you embrace, and allowing yourself to walk through that journey, I think is the biggest thing. And finding things like this. Well, where are those resources that are out there? The internet is a phenomenal thing, and it also can be a curse, honestly. And so you have to be insightful in what pieces that fill you up, not drag you down, if that makes sense.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
Do any of you have questions for Michele? Either write them down on an index card, or just, we have a microphone right here, you can stand up and share your question.
I was just going to ask you, with all the healthcare changes that are racing at people, and kind of this outcome-based, are we going to lose some of this piece of this? Or is there going to be new opportunities for that to be available? Because this doesn't seem to fit in outcome-based, or maybe it does.
Well, and that's my charge. So, you know, I say when we're doing something like this, we're doing a quality of life assessment and actually identifying patients' concerns and doing quality of life assessment with it. The positive part to this is American College of Surgeons, who accredits most oncology programs across the US, has made a mandate that survivorship needs to happen. There was a report that was written in 2005 saying lost in transition, patients from oncology care to primary. Primary care was saying, you're doing all this to these patients and you're sending them back to us with no guidance, about how to take care of these patients. By 2015, the projection is we're gonna have 20 million cancer survivors, 20 million. We have about 11 right now, okay? So you're talking in the next 2 to 5 to 10 years, that's gonna double. So we have people living with cancer, living either with cancer as a chronic disease, having been cured of it, or living longer with cancer itself, okay? So with that, we can't ignore it. So for healthcare, in a position like mine, we have to validate it. We have to say, by me being involved with a family, I'm helping them walk this journey so that if their unfortunate thing is that their cancer is an advanced cancer and they'll probably die of their cancer, that we don't keep treating so the quality of life goes out the door and we can get them to hospice sooner. The payers, the healthcare, all of that, we're actually reducing costs by doing that. Keeping people out of the hospital because I'm educating, I'm supporting them, I'm listening to them, that they have the tools they need so that we are actually caring for them so they don't end up Friday afternoon going to the emergency room and a hospitalization in the ICU. So that's the burden on us. That's the burden on us to work together with patients and families to say, how do we do this together? How do we create a survivor care plan together so that you're educated, we're being proactive rather than reactive, and allowing that communication. Patients will say, I don't know who my quarterback is, Michelle. Is it my primary? Is it my medical oncologist? Is it my surgeon? Is it my radiation oncologist? Anybody felt like that in the room? Like, who's got the show, okay? So I think these kind of programs will make a difference. I think the challenge we have, the burden we have, is the definition. Survivorship feels to some people that it's such a hard thing to say, am I a survivor? Do I have to get to a certain level to say I'm a survivor? No. I mean, the national definition from the time you're diagnosed to the time you hear it, you're a survivor, so how do I help you? So that's my worry, because I have to prove my worth. And my patients need to use my services and work with me so that we actually show those outcomes benefit. So it's both responsibilities. It's mine, it's the government, good golly. It's patients and caregivers. It's all of us working together to create a survivor care plan that is walking along your treatment journey. That make sense? Because I see them synonymously together, that it's a marriage walking together. But I have a lot of pushback sometimes from patients. Survivor visit? Once they meet with me, they figure out, oh my gosh, you're going to talk about all the other things nobody else talks about. So, yeah, that's a worry of mine. Absolutely.
Thank you. Other questions?
My family and I, when I was first diagnosed, kept hearing about chemo brain and thought it was a joke.
Mm-hmm.
It took a long time to accept that it's not. And can you explain that it's a real phenomenon?
Oh man, I have chemo brain. I gave chemo. It's real, and I think what's a positive part of this that we're seeing in oncology care is that in Minneapolis, we are blessed because we have a cancer rehab program now. So Fairview's doing it, Allina Health System's doing it, Sister Kenny is phenomenal for rehab. And there's these passionate physicians that are doing rehab medicine that are saying the things we do to patients. Chemo brain is real. One lady, God love her, I mean, she's adorable. She said, I can't remember where I put the keys, and I cannot find them to this drawer. I said, well, what'd you do? Well, I broke into the drawer. you know, because she literally could not find the keys, you know. What's hard for families and caregivers is they want you back. They see that the outside of you is back to your old self, but the inside of you has had a lot of things that you've gone through. And chemo brain is one that, I had a man that was getting up every morning and throwing up before he got up to go to work. And as I sat with him, he had a whole big GI workup. Doctors are like, GI problems, got gastric problem, blah, blah, blah. I sat with them, did a quality of life assessment with them, really kind of picked out where are we at, and he made a $10,000 mistake for his own business during the midst of his therapy. He goes, I'm an accountant. I don't know how it happened. I don't know where it happened. But he didn't want to tell his partner, his business partner, and he didn't want to tell his wife. So every morning that he was getting up to go to work, his throwing up was not a GI problem. It was severe anxiety from the fact that he was still having cognitive issues from his therapy, but everybody wanted him to be normal. So he had the pressure of everybody wanting to be normal and back to his life, and he wanted to be back to his life, and he wanted to put it all back here. But until we addressed, how do we help you? I mean, how do I help you with anxiety? How do I help you with depression? How do I help you work with chemo brain? And that's where the cognitive team through Cancer Rehab, they're working with patients on those things, because that is a disability that comes with what we do. What we do. You're here, you're living, but patients will say, God dang it, I just can't get close to finding what my new normal is. What's a new normal? I hate that. I hate that language, Michelle. What new normal is it? And I go, is she new dysfunctional? I'm like, okay, so how do we put the skills in place to help you cope with that? And work with the caregivers to understand that, yeah, they're through it, but it's just like if you had diabetes and your leg was amputated, your leg's not there anymore, and everybody can see that. But with oncology, people can't see the neuropathies, the chemo brain, sometimes the lymphodemas, some of those things that are permanent disabilities, and that's what survivorship will bring. Will bring, because we will have people living with being cured, living with cancer, and we're keeping you alive, but we're causing these side effects to happen. Okay? So I've got an arsenal of people coming, that are experts in this field, and they're recognizing that this is a real thing, and how do we help maximize people's quality of life as best as we can, but with that, we got to help the families. Okay? So it's real. Okay? We got it on the internet. It's real.